Hi friends, this video is a practice Duolingo test video all about the read then speak question type. You know, this one. In this lesson, I've prepared 7 practice questions for you with 7 sample answers. And I think this will be really helpful because practicing is one of the best ways to prepare for this exam, or in fact any exam. And the questions I've made are very similar to the ones on the real Duolingo English test. Okay, we will get to the practice in just one moment, but I want to say that if you're new to this channel, hi, I'm teacher Luke from DETready.com. Visit our website to find more information about the Duolingo English test. We have some courses to help you with your production subscore, and we have a new practice platform. I think this is really helpful, and there is a free version, so you might as well give it a try. You can find links to it below in the description. Okay, back to this lesson. Firstly, we'll take a look at the key points of this question type, just to remind you what it's about, and then we'll jump into the practice. So let's start with the key points. Okay, we'll go over these very quickly. So your job is simply to read a prompt, then respond through speaking. When the prompt first comes up, you have 20 seconds to read and think before you begin speaking. So that's really useful to know. Before you begin speaking, you get 20 seconds to read the prompt and think about your answer. Remember, you're not allowed to take notes, so just do all of your planning in your head. You get 20 seconds to do that, but you can see the prompt when you're speaking, so that makes it a little bit easier. Yeah, like I just mentioned, you can see the question while you're speaking, so that's good. And you should try to answer all the components to the question. So it's really useful to answer all of the components to the prompt. Usually there'll be a couple bullet points with different questions for you, all related to the topic. And it's useful to answer those questions because it means that you can speak for longer and it keeps you on track and it keeps you on topic. It's very important that your answer is closely related to the topic of the prompt. Task relevance is on the criteria, and that's what that means. Is your answer related to the prompt? So just be careful with that. So you get 90 seconds to speak, but you should speak for at least 30 seconds. So you need to speak for at least 30 seconds. That's the minimum requirement, but I strongly recommend you try to speak for longer, somewhere between 60 to 80 seconds, because fluency is on the scoring criteria and the amount or the length of your speech is related to fluency. So I recommend you try to speak for as long as you can. You'll get this twice on the test, and it contributes to your conversation and production subscores. So I know a lot of students struggle to get a good score in production, and if that's you, then I highly recommend you study this video very closely because doing this question type well will be really helpful for you. Okay then, well let's jump into it. Here is question number 1.
I recently gave my younger brother a book as a graduation gift. The book is titled, How to Own the World, and it's on the topic of personal finance and investing. The reason I gave this to my younger brother is because it's a book that I wish I had read earlier in my life. The book simply guides you on the best and safest ways to invest your money. And one of the key points is to start investing as early as possible, ideally when you're in your early 20s. That's why I gifted this book to my younger brother, as he is only 21 years old and just about to start his first job. Okay, moving on to the next question. To be honest, I felt quite proud to have been able to share this book with my brother, because I honestly think it will improve his life, financially speaking, which of course is really important. And I also felt a little bit jealous. He's about 10 years younger than I am, and I wish I could go back in time and read this book and start investing my money sensibly at 21 years old. So yeah, that's a gift that I have given to someone recently.
I'd like to talk about horse riding, which has been my hobby since I was around 10 years old. I'm actually the joint owner of a horse with two of my friends, and we take turns looking after him, cleaning the stable, and so on. I don't have a part-time job, so I spend most of my weekends at the stable. Taking care of a horse is quite dirty business, so it's obviously very different from studying at college. That means I can forget about my classes during the week when I'm at the stable on the weekend. There's quite a large field next to the stable, and I just get a wonderful sense of freedom when I'm riding around on my horse. College seems a million miles away when I'm riding. Do I think other people would enjoy horse riding? Yes, absolutely. I think everyone should give it a try. Horses are absolutely wonderful animals. They're very gentle and intelligent. If you ever have the chance to ride a horse, you should definitely give it a try.
So much has changed for the news industry since the rise of the internet. However, I agree that newspapers still have importance. The main advantage of the printed newspaper is that it does not require any technical ability to read. This offers the reader a high level of flexibility. The printed newspaper can be read in any place at any time. For instance, a person may read the paper while commuting to and from work. Secondly, the reader can absorb the information offered at his own pace. What is more, the level of importance of each news story is made more obvious by the use of different headline fonts. For these reasons, I believe that printed newspapers are still relevant today. There are many festivals in my country, but the most popular one is Chinese New Year. This is the occasion that people celebrate with great joy, hope, and festivity with their beloved ones. It is often celebrated with fireworks and people send each other their best wishes for an awesome year ahead. Many people believe that red is considered a lucky color for the new year. That's why people often choose to dress in vivid red as a way to eliminate bad luck and welcome good things for the new year. My country also has some unique traditions like lucky money, preparing homemade food, or decorating home in the first days of the year. It's also a good time for family reunions and New Year resolutions.
To be completely honest, I often feel under pressure, especially at work. That being said, throughout my working career, I have figured out how to handle being under pressure. For instance, one time, I was supposed to deliver a project to an important client for my company in just 5 days, which isn't a long time at all. I was working on this with my coworker, but he got sick and had to take a few days off work. While I felt shocked and stressed at first, I tried to look at it differently and see it as an opportunity. So instead of getting stressed, I came up with a very detailed schedule that enabled me to finish the project on time. Since then, I've always kept a detailed schedule, and doing this has helped me to manage the pressures associated with my work.
I played basketball a lot when I was younger, and I have great memories from that time. I loved playing with my friends in the school playground at lunchtime, and I was actually pretty good. I participated in a few competitions with my team. And although we never won, they were always great fun. Basketball was a great way for me to hang out with friends and to get some exercise. I'm sure that the reason I've been so healthy in my life is because I played so much when I was younger. Some of my other friends started smoking and drinking alcohol when we were in school together, but luckily I was so focused on basketball that I didn't do any of that bad and unhealthy stuff. I'm really thankful that my school encouraged us to play a sport, and that some of the teachers were dedicated to coaching us. Well, to be honest, in my country, it's not that important to have a meal together with your family. If they're outside or working, then you usually have a meal by yourself. It's not important to wait for someone to begin eating. That being said, if all family members are at home, then we normally prefer to eat together. In the UK, where I live now, the only eating custom that I'm aware of is having a family lunch on Sundays. Usually, we all get together at someone's house, or the local pub, and enjoy a nice big lunch with meat, vegetables, and gravy. However, sadly this custom is not as popular with younger people nowadays. I hope this custom remains because I really love going to the pub with all my family for Sunday lunch.
And nice one! You finished 7 practice questions with sample answers. How was it? Was it easy? Was it hard? Let me know below in the comments. And if you want to study more with me, I recommend you watch this video here next or this one here. Okay, that's all from me. I'll be back next week with another video, so I'll see you then. Bye.